Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Jini. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this fun Timeless Tulips card using the Timeless Tulip stamp set and its coordinating Tulip Builder punch. This set is great for all kinds of occasions, and it has a get well sentiment, so it's wonderful for this time of year. So let me set this aside and we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to begin with my stamping, and I am going to stamp this largest tulip here in the upper right hand corner. And then I'm going to stamp this medium tulip using the Grapefruit Grove in the middle here. And finally the smallest tulip using Calypso Coral into the bottom left-hand corner here. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's just a scratch piece, and I am going to stamp my tulip 1, 2, 3. And I know you're wondering, why did I do that on the left hand side of my cardstock? It's because that way when I slip it into my tulip punch, that leaf won't be punching out from the center of the cardstock. So if you do the tulips on the left and you stamp the leaf on the right, you'll be able to slide that leaf in and not punch out your other images. Okay, now that I've got my tulips done and my extra tulip punched out, I'm ready to start with my greenery. And I'm going to bring this stem in here, and I am going to stamp 1, 2, and the little flower down here. And I love the fact these are photopolymers, so you can line them up so easy. And I'm going to bring in this leaf image here, and I'm going to stamp. And you can flip it so that it looks more like a different stamp. And then I'm going to bring in this straight image here, and I am going to add some images with that along the bottom at different heights as extra greenery that's there in the field of flowers. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. The first thing I'm going to do is place my Pool Party cardstock into my triple banner punch and punch the end for it. And then I'm going to take this little greeting and I am going to stamp hello on the right edge right in front of my flag. And then I am going to simply use my paper snips and trim this the length I want. Now that I've got all my pieces together, I'm ready to bring in everything and start assembling. So I'm going to flip over my Daffodil Delight Designer Series paper, and I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of it, and I am going to adhere that to my card front. And then I'm going to bring in this piece of Grapefruit Grove cardstock, and I'm going to add adhesive to the back of that. And I'm going to turn it a little bit to the right so it's a little kitty wampus on the front of my card, like that. And then I'm going to add my adhesive to the back of my daffodil panel. And as you can see, I'm doing flat layering with this. I'm not adding any dimensionals to this, but you could if you wanted to. Now that I've got the tulips on the front, I am ready to attach my punch tulip by removing the dimensionals and simply adhering that to the top, and that gives me some of my height. And now for my sentiment. I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to add a little bit of snail to the center, and then I'm going to bring in my 1/4 inch seam binding. This is Whisper White, and you can also find this in the 2020 June catalog. I'm simply going to adhere that to the back and then trim. And now I'm going to add some Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of this. I'm using my mini dimensionals so that I can adhere several of these. I'm going to straddle the ribbon, number 1 so that it helps adhere, and number 2 so that it will pop it up. And I will remove those dimensional covers and simply adhere it to my card front where I would like it. There we go. So let me bring the original in again. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. And of course, if you don't already have a demonstrator and would like one of our 2020 January-June mini catalogs, email me your name, address, and phone number, and I'll be happy to mail you one. Thanks for joining me.